Hello, everyone, and welcome. If we haven't met, my name is Leandra McGriff, and I am the Education Strategy Lead at Infosys Foundation USA. So, I was an educator for several years before entering EdTech, and now I am at the foundation where our goal is to expand computer science. Now, for those of you who have been here before, welcome back. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go over a few things and then we're going to hop right into our live action prompting for today. All right, so let's jump right into overwhelmed to empowered, making teaching easy with AI. So, if you've been with me before, you already know the foundations of prompt engineering: context, task, format, and constraints. Today, we're putting that knowledge into practice. So, we have 60 minutes to learn how to expertly use the three most powerful free AI models available. Now, while there are specialized paid AI tools for teachers, we're proving that you can maximize your time and creativity using tools you can access right now without hitting your budget. So, my goal is simple. You leave here knowing how to create content you'll use tomorrow. Okay, so today is all about live action. We will do it in three segments: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Now, you will see me type prompts in real time, see the raw AI responses, and get quick tips. Now, please follow along in your own tools, but do not stop to create content because we're going to be moving rather quickly. Now, the secret to great AI content is a simple framework: craft. Now, this is how you design a perfect prompt. Now, before we've used CTFC, but this is an easier acronym to remember. We are going to go over it very quickly and then jump into our live action prompt creation. So, C is for context. This is all about giving the AI background information. I am teaching 10th grade students history on the American Revolution. And the next one is R. R is for role, and it's telling the AI who it is and who the audience is. You are giving the AI a role to play. So you are a 7th grade math teacher, telling the AI to take on this role for it to better understand how to help. The next one is A is for audience, and it's defining the recipient. Write a friendly letter to parents. Parents is our recipient. The next one is F for format, and you specify the output structure. Create a 10-question worksheet or include a 4-level rubric. This is how you want it to appear on the screen. And the last one, T, is for task. The main goal here is that's what you're asking for. You want to generate 30 questions or generate 15 questions. This is craft. So we will reference craft in every demo that we do today. I know that we went through these rather quickly, and if you want a deep dive, please watch a previous webinar, Prompt Power Up. James will put the link in the chat. However, we will be discussing these in great details as we create live prompts today, so do not worry about how quickly we went over this. We'll be going over this in greater detail. All right, so the three tools we will be using today is ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Claude. And for each demo, we will be going over why and when to use one over the other, since they each have their own strengths. Now, before we incorporate any AI-generated material into the classroom, we must pause for a moment of ethical reflection. AI is an assistant, not a replacement, so never copy and paste content blindly. We know that AI can hallucinate facts and make errors, so you must review, refine, and add your own expertise to every piece of content. Also, remember to check with your administration to ensure that using these tools is permissible and that you are following your district's guidelines on data privacy. You must adhere to district policy. Also, you must never input any personal identifiable information about your students. No names, no ages, or things like that. Your goal is to work smarter, not to compromise your professional integrity. All right, so let's think of AI like these four things, and we'll be referring to them today as a brainstorming partner that helps generate ideas when you're stuck, a time saving tool that handles repetitive formatting and initial drafts, a differentiation helper that quickly adapts content for various learning levels, or a creative catalyst that sparks new approaches to familiar topics. Your expertise, knowledge of your students, understanding of curriculum standards, and teaching instincts are irreplaceable. AI amplifies your effectiveness. It doesn't replace your essential role in the classroom. All right, so without further ado, now that we went over those things, let's get right into prompting. So I'm going to go ahead and share my browser here, and I'm going to make sure that we can see it. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to start with ChatGPT for our first prompt. And this is the beginner level. So our prompts are going to be super simple, super easy, and we're actually going to refine them live. So why ChatGPT as our first one? Well, it's our best generalist. For simple, structured data outputs, like a list or a worksheet, it's fast and reliable. And we're focusing on this one on the format and the audience of craft. The format, how it looks like on the screen, and the audience, who it's for. So I'm going to go ahead and put this prompt in the chat here. And let's see here. It is to create a 10-question multiplication worksheet for third graders. Include problems from 2 times 2 to 9 times 9. Now, in this prompt, the format is a 10-question worksheet, and the audience is for third graders. Now, this is the minimum you need for a functional prompt. If you just said math worksheet, of course you'd get junk, but being specific with the format and role ensures the output is useful. So this is what we received here: 10 questions, name, date, and we even have an answer key for teacher use. It took it a step further. Now, this isn't ready to print, so I'm going to say turn this into a printable PDF. And ChatGPT, by the way, is great about turning things into worksheets, into Word documents, PDFs, Excel spreadsheets. Some of the other AIs aren't as good as ChatGPT is on doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and let's take a look at what it gives us. Beautiful. I love it. It even created a grid structure for us. Love it. Very nicely done. Okay, so these are free, but full disclosure, I am using the paid version because I had to prompt it so many times to use it for my webinars, but you can use them for free, of course. All right, so the next one, we're going to move on to beginner demo number 2. We're going to Google Gemini for this one. And the reason we are is because it has a native integration with the Google ecosystem, making it great for iterative planning that might end up in a shared document or slide deck. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in here. And I'm just going to paste it for time's sake. I know you guys don't want to see me type over and over again, so I'm just going to paste it here. And here it is: create a 30-minute lesson plan for teaching the water cycle to 4th graders. Include a hook, main activity, and closing. So something that I love about Gemini is it loves to expand and go into detail. ChatGPT is short and punchy, but Gemini likes to go all the way out. So here we're defining the format again, but this time it's more detailed and more structured, very specific about the task, 30-minute lesson plan that must include a hook, main activity, and closing. And we see these structural constraints here. So you're defining the scaffold and the AI is filling in the relevant content here. So it has all of this here for us, and it has this water cycle lesson plan. And we can even tell it, please include a water cycle image. And it's going to redo it here we would like a visual aid, and let's see what it does here. It actually chose one from Shutterstock. Isn't that so cool? Like, it actually chose a free image that you could actually use in your classroom. Now let's see if it actually did what we asked. So we have the hook, and it's doing the case of the missing puddle, which is really interesting. And then the main activity, and then it has the explanation and a closing cycle and exit ticket. There we go. Very simple and straight to the point. Now, are we going to copy and paste this over? No, we are not. We're only going to use this as an idea generator to give us some ideas like the activity that we could possibly use and expand upon in our classroom. All right, now we're going to move on to the third beginner demo, and we're going to use Claude for this one. Now, why Claude? Well, Claude excels at maintaining tone, style, and clarity over other models, making it ideal for professional communication where nuances matter. So for this prompt, we will focus on audience and format, and we are just going to write a friendly letter to parents about a field trip. So I'm going to copy that over and paste it here, and we'll go over it. And it's write a friendly letter to parents about our upcoming field trip to the Science Museum on March 15th. Cost is $12. Students bring lunch. Keep it under 200 words. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there and let it come up with something. And while it's doing that, just a note, we are defining the audience as parents and specifying the desired tone as friendly. And we also use format, which is the constraint to keep it under 200 words. Now, when writing professional communication, using Claude to ensure the tone is appropriate and the message is concise is a great way to go. Now let's take a closer look at this. Now, if we notice, it did include the important details. It's on March 15th, but look at this. It put a departure time. Did we ask for a departure time? We did not, but AI loves to be very helpful, and sometimes it likes to fill in the gaps. It knows what a friendly letter to a parent or guardian for a school trip should look like, and it realized that we're missing the departure time and date, so it filled it in for us. Now, this is just a basic prompt, so of course, if we're doing more intermediate or advanced prompts, we would be sure to fill in the gaps, of course, but it's very interesting to keep an eye out for things like this. Another thing that happened is it says, please send payment in a sealed envelope labeled with your child's name by March 8th. We did not ask for that either. So it's really important to read and revise everything that AI outputs because it loves to go off on its own and be super helpful at times. So we just have to be very careful. Okay, let's go back to ChatGPT, and we're going to do a new one. We're moving on to the intermediate level right now. So the intermediate level is about using complex prompts and using context and task together. Now, we are going to do one for differentiation. So we are going to use ChatGPT for differentiation because we needed to manage multiple outputs simultaneously based on strict numerical and role constraints. Now, it handles the multi-part instructions really well, and so here we're going to specify 3 roles and 3 formats. So let's go ahead and look at that version here. I'm going to get that, and we're going to read it together. And it says, create 3 versions of a reading passage about rainforest systems. So for those of you that teach more than 1 grade, this is going to be pretty good because you are able to teach across curricular. So version A, 3rd grade reading level, 100 words. Version B, 6th grade reading level, 150 words. Version C, 8th grade reading level, 200 words. All versions should cover biodiversity, layers, and climate. So let's see what it does here. And now this prompt is complex because we're asking the AI to adopt 3 different roles, the 3rd, 6th, and 8th grade levels, for the same task. Now, differentiated content usually takes hours, but by structuring the prompt clearly, we get 3 distinct outputs immediately. And this is a huge win for mixed ability classes. Okay, so notice the layers that it talks about here. So we see the emergent layers. It says tall as trees, canopy, where animals live, understory, dark and shady, 3rd grade. Now we move on to 6th grade, and it goes into detail about the canopy being a leafy roof with the animals that live there, and it goes into more detail. And now with 8th grade, it's a little mixture of both 3rd and 6th grade, but it uses more higher level vocabulary like words like dense, absorb, fall in, decaying matter, things like that, that 8th graders would understand. But I still find it a little bit too simplistic. So you may go back in there and tell the AI to make some sort of changes. Now it says, would you like me to create comprehension questions or a vocabulary list for each version next? So this is really helpful in taking that to the next level if we would like to continue. But differentiation is really helpful, and this is a great way to do that. All right, now we're going to move on to our next prompt, and we're going to be using Google Gemini. So Gemini is, again, really great. But we are going to do a little bit of scaffolding. So scaffolding is also known as conversation approach, where you're conversing with the AI. But this is really where you're like building on one thing after the other. So I'm going to create a new chat here. And we are focusing on Gemini because of its memory and how well it supports iterative context building. Now, ChatGPT has memory. Claude just got memory about 2 weeks ago, which is great. Gemini has had it for a while. So we're going to use this one because of its great memory, where it remembers what we're talking about so that we can continue having a conversation with it. So for science, we are going to do this first one, which is going to be create a lab activity about chemical reactions for 9th grade chemistry. Focus on exothermic reactions, 50 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and pop that in there, let it do its thing. And it did like a cute little title, heat it up. We didn't ask for that, but it's great. Looking good. And it even has an option to export it to sheets. Also, Gemini is really good about documentation. And then it takes us through the procedure and the timeline that we would like. Data and analyst sheet, post-lab questions, teacher notes. Great. Now, let's say we do this prompt here. We tell it exactly what we have to use. Watch what happens here. I'm telling it I only have baking soda, vinegar, and cold water. Revise using only these materials. Now, if you're in chemistry, you would know that this means that it's actually this reaction would be endothermic instead of exothermic. And it tells us that. So it tells us we have to change the focus of the lab if we would like to continue moving forward. So it's very interesting that sometimes AI can catch things and actually help us figure things out. We can always go online and double check to make sure that this is correct or not. But AI can actually help guide us in the wrong direction if we are taking a wrong turn. But it can also still guide us in the wrong direction if we are going in the correct way. So it's we have to be careful. We have to be careful both ways. But it changed the entire procedural document here, which was really interesting. All right, so now we are going to do one more action, and we're going to say that we would like, it did some post-lab questions, it did 5, but these are post-lab. We want some that they can do during the lab. So we're going to go ahead and add that here, and let's see what happens. Is it gonna go through the entire thing again, or is it just gonna give us those questions? Let's see. And remember, it's using memory. It remembers what we are doing here and where we're continuing to what's next. So it didn't just go through the entire thing again. It knows you already got that information. You know what kind of lab that you want. So it's not doing that again. Rather, it's just giving us the information that we have asked for. And in a few minutes, I'm not going to do it here, but we'll also be able to look at our core curriculum standards and standards for our states and see if AI can actually follow those standards. So hang in there while we get to that. But this is how we scaffold. It's a conversation back and forth. It's very different from just asking it new questions. We already know what we want the AI to do, but we're asking it to do it in segments, section by section, step by step. And the reason we did it for this one is because it's a very long answer that we want, and it can be a little bit too much for AI to give us everything we need at one time. So by breaking it up into smaller components, we are getting to the correct answer that we want in a way that AI can give us the details that we need at the same time. So now we're going to go to our next demo, which is an assessment with a rubric. We're still in the intermediate level, and we're going to use Claude to integrate a rubric. So I'm going to make a new chat here, and here we're going to do the format and task part of the craft acronym, and we're doing Claude because it manages complex formatting and long prose form, the rubric descriptions, exceptionally well. So we're going to go ahead and let it do this. So we're going to tell it to create a project for 7th grade students on the solar system. Include 3 project options: poster, presentation, or model. A 4-level rubric: exceeds, meets, approaching, below standards. And rubric should cover accuracy, creativity, presentation, and keep it to 1 page for students. Now, this is powerful because the format includes the 4-level rubric structure, and the task is to create the project. Now, we are defining the criteria that we want: accuracy, creativity, presentation, which forces the AI to structure the rubric around those specific concepts. So you'll get something that is pretty easy to use. And so it is currently working on that handout for us. Let's see what it creates. Sometimes Claude can take a little, I tend to think that Claude overthinks. Claude Code is amazing, where it creates with code, and that's usually how I use AI. So those computer science teachers out there, Claude Code is really good. Post in the chat if you would like me to do a session on Claude Code. But in the meantime, Claude does tend to go into detail about different things. So here it has created a doc for us, a solar system project, 7th grade science. And what is the problem here? Oh, it did create a 1-page doc. Yep. And it created the rubric and everything that we need. Now, I don't like the rubric. I would like it to be in like a grid format. So let's see if we can tell it, I would like the rubric to be in grid format. Let's see how long this takes. And usually that's how we expect a rubric to be, right? We do expect it to be in a grid. And it gave us the total score here, 12 points. We did not tell it how many points they could receive. So once again, AI took it to its own, AI went to take it to the next step. So I'm going to say, and do it out of 100 points. And of course, this is not using the craft framework. I'm just typing quickly for the sake of time. Let's see if it actually does it. And it may take some more iterating to get exactly what we need. But what was my mistake here? I didn't give it the rubric structure. I told it that I would like a 4-level rubric part, but I didn't tell it I wanted it in a grid. I just assumed that it would do it automatically. So that was my issue there. So let's go ahead and see if it can create the grid format and make it a rubric scored out of 100 points. So let's see how it does. Ooh, while I do that, I'm gonna like read the chat here for a minute while it. So, oh, we have someone who would love to see a session on Claude Code. Ooh, I got a lot of those. Claude Code, yes. Okay, we'll do one on Claude Code soon then. JavaScript. So we did do Python at our last session. If you missed it, please go back to that one. That's a good one. I might have to switch over to JavaScript for that one, Javier. Oh, we did do one on JavaScript. Yes, I think. No, that was Python. I'm sorry. We'll do JavaScript. Thank you, Javier. We'll do JavaScript for sure. All right. So I will keep that in mind. Claude Code and JavaScript. We'll do that. All right. So I like this better. It gives the students the three options: poster, presentation, and model. And then it has all the criteria in a rubric that I'm familiar with. And that is easy. It gave the quadrant each set of points, so we can change that as well, but we're on the right track here. All right, that is intermediate. So now we're going to go to advanced. Now we are going to do the ultimate time saver, which is a full unit structure. Now I am going to give a word of caution. Now, creating a full unit structure with AI is very risky. AI doesn't know your students. AI doesn't know what your students need. AI doesn't know how to teach a classroom with different students. So, what's the point of even trying this? We're going to just use it as an idea generator. Just like before, when it created different ideas for like different projects for the water cycle, we're going to use it for that. So, think of this as a rough draft that you can make edits to and possibly use bits and pieces of it. Now, it may give you ideas you hadn't thought of, and that's what we want from AI, but we never want to copy and paste. So I'm showing you how to do this, but I trust that everyone will use it wisely and ethically, just as we would encourage our students. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to pop our prompt in, and then we are going to see if we can get it to match standards. All right, so create a 2-week unit plan for 5th grade on fractions. Include 1, daily lesson topics, 10 lessons. 2, one formative assessment for each week. 3, one end of unit test, 15 questions. Focus on adding fractions, subtracting fractions, and word problems. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and put it in there, and let's see what we get. Now, the task here is massive. We're generating multiple days of content. And by structuring the format as a list of required components, 10 topics, 2 assessments, 1 test, we automate this planning phase. But remember, this is just an idea generator, guys. All right, and look at these standards. Ooh, focus standards here are right here. It went ahead and just gave them to us because it knows that is required. Now, if you have certain standards for certain states, by all means, put it in your prompt. Go ahead and say these state standards, but do not rely on it. Please check your standards and make sure that it's aligning with them before using anything from AI. AI can make up numbers and make up standards itself, but let's go ahead and look at what it created for us. So it did the first 5 days, the first week, and a formative assessment. And then it did the second week, and week 2, 5 short questions. And then it did an end of unit assessment, 15 questions. And the 5 questions, so we have, and it has short answer questions, word problems, concept and reasoning. And what we can say, I don't see a teacher guide here, like answer sheet. So we can ask it for an answer sheet. But would you like me to turn this into a printable, teacher-friendly PDF with spaces for notes, objectives, and check boxes for completion? And we would say, yes, absolutely. Like, I would love that. So this is pretty easy, pretty straightforward. A rope is 5.5 meters long. If 3/4 meters are cut off, how much remains? So it's giving us good, decent word problems. We can ask it to expand upon it, make it more descriptive, make it more interesting for the students, make little stories out of it. There's just so many different ways that we can take this, and it's all about using that craft format of creating prompts. All right, so now we are going to go on to a different skill. We are going to use the same prompt across different AIs to see the difference. And then I want you guys to post in the chat, which AI did you prefer? Which one did you think did the best job or aligns with how you would like to create content? So what we're going to do here is a question bank. And we're going to start with ChatGPT because it's really good at generating high volumes of structured data that is easy to extract and sort. So we're going to maximize the task and specify multiple formats. So here it is. I'm going to create a new chat here. And then towards the end, we're going to learn how to create our own template because it's beautiful when you can just reuse the same template over and over and you have it there for safekeeping. All right, so create a test question bank on the American Revolution for 8th grade. Generate 30 questions, 10 multiple choice, basic facts, 10 short answer, requires explanation, and 10 higher order thinking. Tag each question easy, medium, or hard. And we also have the answer key. Now look at this. So it said it got it, but it says before I generate the 30 question American Revolution text test bank, can you clarify whether you'd like me to use the image you uploaded? This right here, when I copied and pasted it. So that's why I always just paste and match style. I would say prefer that I just create an original question bank from scratch. So be careful about copying and pasting things over. And this is a great example. It pasted it over as an image, so you just want to make sure that you're careful about pasting content there. All right, so let's create an original question bank from scratch. Okay, here we go. Now we have our multiple choice. And look over this very quickly. What year did the American Revolution begin? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? The shot heard around the world refers to the battle of which country helped the American colonies? What was the main purpose of the Continental Congress? Blah, 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 blah. So as we go through this, see which one you like here, how well it did. And look at the short answers here. Explain why colonists use the phrase no taxation without representation. And it goes through a lot of these different explain the main idea of Thomas Paine's pamphlet Common Sense. Does a really good job. And I want you to look carefully. I'm going to pause here so you can read this. And then we're going to read the next section. And we're going to pop it into Google Gemini and see how well it does it. And what options it gives us at the end. Are they similar? Are they different? The thing is, one thing that I could recommend as well is if your chapter is short enough, plug the chapter in and ask for those specific questions. Now, usually when we have a chapter in our book, they already have questions there, but we may want to formulate different questions based on the passage. So I would definitely recommend to go ahead and paste pieces of the text, pieces of the chapters, and tell it to give you some content based off of that so you know you're getting exactly what you need and we're getting closer to your standards and what your school uses to teach your students. And here's the answer key. Very nicely done. And now we're going to take this one and go all the way over to Gemini. And I think what we'll find with Gemini is that Gemini is going to go really all into this one, and go really into the details, but I could be wrong on this one. So paste and match style, otherwise I would get like an image version pasted there. So let's see what it says here. Now, we're asking the AI to perform a large task, generate 30 items, but we're defining three specific formats: multiple choice, short answer, and higher order thinking. And we're essentially making the AI into a test prep factory. Now, this categorization saves you hours of post editing, and you can mix and match for a quiz or a comprehensive final, but you don't have to use all of this. These are just great ideas. You can tailor it to the grade level even more by specifying, differentiating it to the types of students you have, and even the languages that you would like to use it for. So yeah, absolutely. So this is the tag easy, and it actually here, it changed the format. Notice how the format is different than ChatGPT's format, and this is multiple choice. I don't know if you can see the multiple choice questions here, and they're very short and punchy, like straight to the point, 1-2 word answers here. The short answer question, which requires explanation, are a little bit more difficult than the ones that ChatGPT created. Um, it even gives specific instructions, like why was the Battle of Saratoga considered a major turning point for the war, and it says do not just name the winner. So it's very specific on actually explaining and giving instructions to the students that we as a teacher would give us more details. And it does have a few here that are very similar, of course, because it's the same content. And this one, they tagged it hard, and they really went into depth here about the analysis and evaluation. So I am leaning towards Gemini for this one as my winner, but we still have one more. We're going to try Claude. So let's go ahead and give Claude a chance to win. And this is actually a technique that I love to use. I love to um, pit the AIs against each other so that I can get different answers and pick and choose from different ones what I would like.
Hey,
So
Leandra,
we're going to wait for it to.
while we're pulling that
I'm
up, hey,
sorry, what was
Leandra,
that?
while we have a quick question in the chat. Someone had asked if you plug in the chapter or pieces thereof
Yes,
of the chapter, would that lead to copyright Someone had asked if you plug in the chapter or pieces thereof of the chapter, would that lead
it
to copyright issue?
shouldn't. It will be in its ether, um, like in the AI's ether, but it already has access to the entire internet. So if this book is published online and it has access to this publication, it may already be in its ether. So this isn't something that you would have to worry about. You're using this information. So be cautious, proceed with caution, but it shouldn't be anything that you have to worry about. Most of this information is already on the web, so it's already there and it already has access to it. We're just um, going a little bit deeper. And I would also suggest something, this is beside the point, but something that I think would be interesting is using Perplexity for research. So you can use Perplexity to bring in different pieces of information from different articles, different websites, different books, and pull that information in. So definitely um, take a look at Perplexity as well, because it has the most access to these articles and can be used for research and bringing in content into different AIs, because you can definitely pull in what you receive from Perplexity into the different AIs of your choice, if that makes sense. I kind of went off the rails there, but I thought that would be an interesting add-on since Perplexity is so great with research and articles and bringing in information. All right, so here we have the American Revolution test question bank from Claude. It did take it did take a minute. Oh, I'm seeing that the text is blurry. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see if we can fix that. James, is the text blurry on that end?
Just a little bit, Leandra. Maybe if you remove your
Just a little bit, Leandra. Maybe if you remove your
I'm sorry, remove my what?
is that bigger? Would that work?
your like your face, your camera.
Yes.
Like your face, your camera.
See if I can make it bigger here. I don't know if that helps anyone. I'm gonna like shrink myself. I don't know if that helps, but I'm sorry about that, everyone. We'll do changes for the next webinar. So I loved what Claude did here. It looks more like a test question, just like one that I would see if I'm giving this to my students. So I'm actually very surprised at what AI created. But remember, at Claude created, Claude is very good about tone and constraints. So it did a really good job here. It actually went a little bit too much detail, I think, for eighth graders on these questions here. They are a little long, but it even goes into some higher order thinking. Question 21, what we should be expecting. Question 22, sample evaluation. Things that answers that we should be expecting from the students here. And it went into detail and gave us all of that. We did not ask for that, but it did give it to us there. And it's plenty. It's more than enough. So like I mentioned before, AI tries to be very helpful. It tries to give us more than we need. And at times it does. It tries to fill in the blanks. It assumed that we needed an answer key, so it tried to give us one. But I think Claude did a good job. So which ones do you guys prefer? Let me see what everybody says in the chat. Do you guys prefer Chat, Gemini, or Claude for this one? Oh, I see Claude. Claude is the winner here. Anyone else? Yep, Claude. Everybody likes Claude. Yeah, I think I like the format. The format was pretty spot on with Claude. So I'm very impressed. All right, now we are going to do our last demo, which is a parent newsletter template. We all have that point when I'm looking at Linda's answer here, Gemini, but only because my district pays for the pro version. Very good. So here we're going to send a letter, a template that we're going to create that we can reuse for whenever we're writing to parents. And we need to send a little bit of a newsletter or some information here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new chat here. And we are going to copy this. All right, so create a monthly classroom newsletter template for third grade. Include sections for what we're learning this month, fill an area, important dates, fill an area, student spotlight, fill an area, ways to help at home, 3 to 4 suggestions. Keep it to one page, friendly tone, easy to scan. All right, so we're going to create a template here that hopefully we can reuse in the future. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. Says what we're learning this month, important dates, student spotlight, and ways to help at home. Now I'm going to tell it to go ahead and fill it in. And I'm not going to give it much direction on how to fill it in. I'm just going to say this. Fill in this template for a month where we're learning about multiplication, math, important date, field trip on the 15th. So all I said was ecosystems and science, multiplication and math, and an important date. But it went ahead and filled in reading and writing, and it went in and filled in Thanksgiving break, which we didn't give it, class celebration for multiplication masters. We did not give it any of this information. It made up a student, Ella Johnson. So AI just had a ball with creating here, and this is exactly what I wanted us to see. We do not want to do this. This is why our prompts are so important. Writing it correctly, giving it the details, telling it exactly what we need is so important. So we can get. Oh, it even gave me a contact. This is not my contact, by the way. Um, so really really funny. Just be careful. And at least we have the template. We have the template up here, and we can use this moving forward, and we can tell it to put it in a printable format or put it in a doc, and we can just use that moving forward whenever we need to. So it's really good at creating templates for us that we can reuse, and I think that's really important when it comes to creation. Now, ChatGPT is good with images as well. So if you would like to create images for your newsletters or for your classroom website, definitely use it for that. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in an image generation webinar, because that's a whole different ball game entirely. So if you guys would like an image generation webinar, please let me know. All right, we are going to pause there for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And, start using the craft framework. Try the beginner or intermediate prompts. This month, I want you to create one reusable template or question bank, something that you can reuse again and again and again, like this last template that we created. Now, we are going to end here. I'm going to put the floor for you guys, um, and see if anyone has any questions. So I'm having a little trouble with my audio, so James may have to come in and uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yep, Leandra, we can hear you. We have
Okay.
one question in the chat I was gonna ask.
Okay. So sorry, someone said no audio here, but okay, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Let's go ahead, ask that question, James. I'm having a little trouble with my speakers, but if not, put it in the chat and I'll follow through. Okay.
I'll put in the chat as well. They were asking which AI is worth paying for if you only have to pay once.
Ooh, that's a really good question. And that is one that I cannot give an answer to. It all depends on which one works for you. And that is entirely different for every person. I am subscribed to multiple AIs, honestly, because I like to use them all, but that's not the case that for everyone. And I would also suggest that as a teacher, you maybe look at paid subscriptions of AI programs that are specific for teachers, that create assessments, that create lesson plans, and that are already following district standards and core curriculum standards. So I would look into those if you are going to pay into one. There's multiple ones that have already been created, and they use these AI models on the back end, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They already use that integrated into their program. So check those out as well as a teacher to see if that's what you want. I am not going into any specific ones. I can give you guys a list of ones that I think are really good. But I think this is a very personal question. So it's entirely up to what works for you. But I would say do research on other programs that incorporate AI so that you can use it to the best of your ability.
Leandra, follow up on that. Which ones do you pay for?
Okay, this is embarrassing. um, I pay for about 5 AI models. So I pay for ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and I also use Gamma AI. Now, for Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT, I actually created a server that allows me to access them all, and I can access those models using my command line. So it's just a Basically, it's just an easier way to access them all at the same time without having to switch back and forth between programs. But that is why I pay for them, because I like to use different models for different things. I like to use Claude for code, ChatGPT for short, punchy answers, and especially image generation. And I like to use Gemini for longer descriptive writing that I may need help with when I'm doing research. Perplexity is all about research, so I use it in order to do all the research that I'm looking for, since it actually gives me source articles that I can look at and directly link to so that I can make sure that my sources and my research is accurate. Sorry for that long-winded answer.
Great, thank you. And then the last one is just a video generation workshop, maybe as a topic for a future seminar.
Oh, that would be so great. Yes, I love video generation. Um, yes, I'll definitely put that on the list. We can probably do it with the image generation one. So we can do image and video generation as well. All right, any more questions?
I think that's it.
All
If you
right.
have questions throughout the week, please feel free to email myself or Leandra. And as I said in the chat, I think I missed last week's session, so this week we'll have the decks for both last week and this week, and all the files that come with it. So please be on the lookout for that. And as I said before, we are also in the process of getting all the decks and all the recordings on our Pathfinders Online Institute, so you can get it all in one spot. Ideally, that will be soon, so please be on the lookout. We will be sure to send an email when that is live and ready to go. Sorry, Leandra, real quick. Are there any programs for AI like Parrot or Tolling Head that is free?
Are there any what?
AI like Parrot or Tolling Head that is free? That's in the chat if you want to read.
Oh, let me look in the chat. I'm having a hard time hearing. Let's see here.
From Samantha above.
Ah, okay. I am not sure. This is kind of why I stick to these models, because most of the other programs use these models in the back end. So I'm not sure if they have any more like Parrot or Tolling Head. But I'll do some research. That's a good question. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. I
Oh,
am looking
wait, sorry,
forward.
Leandra.
Oh,
Before we
one more?
conclude, we do have the exciting Tumblr raffle.
Oh,
And
that's right. How could I forget the Tumblr raffle?
oh, could
Everybody
you have
stay
forgotten?
on. We have a Tumblr raffle. Go on ahead, James. Tell us who's the winner.
Congratulations to Jennifer Walks. I hope I'm saying your last name correctly. You've been a longtime foundation friend and partner, so congratulations. And I'll be sure to email you with that information to get the Tumblr out to you ASAP. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Congratulations. So happy for you. And thank you all so much for joining. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next webinar, and hopefully we can fulfill your wishes. A Claude code webinar and an image and video generation webinar. We'll see what we can do. Thank you guys for your support and your votes. See you soon.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.